And we are back with another video, guys. The last one we were in Poznan, Poland, and this one we are headed to Warsaw. So the first thing we saw when we got out of the train station was actually the Palace of Culture and Science. And this building is the second biggest building in all of Poland. It has an interesting history because the Polish People's Republic and the Soviet Union signed an agreement to construct the building in 1952. But it was actually an unwanted gift to the people of Poland on behalf of Stalin and was named after him in its completion in 1955. But it is the most prominent building when you go to Warsaw. So we stayed in the Chill Out Hostel in Warsaw while we were there. It's kind of a cool place, like you just saw. It's above a VHS bar. But I've said this in videos before, guys, but I've also been asked this even recently, is like how we're able to travel so much and afford it. And the reality is there's so many different ways, budget-friendly ways to travel. And if it weren't for things like the Interrail pass or staying in hostels, all of this travel wouldn't be possible. So if you're able to, I really think trying out hostels can be not only a budget-friendly way of traveling, but just a really cool way of meeting people, other travelers from all over the world, and it's just sort of fun. So here's some footage of the inside of this one. We've had experiences in hostels that were great and not so great. This one I recommend. It was a really nice hostel. And look at these stairs, guys. I took so much footage of the stairs because I just thought they were super fun and different. So we ended up getting in late to Warsaw. So the first day we just checked into our hostel, ended up going out in the evening, walking around a bunch. I thought the Stalin building, that's what I call it, looked like an evil fortress that evening, all lit up like that. And just grabbed some dinner and decided to plan some things for the next day. After walking around a bit, we found this really cool piece of light art, and it was one of my favorite things that I saw on our whole Interrail trip, actually. Just love the idea of all the things that could happen next. So the next day, we hopped onto a streetcar, one of the old school streetcars. You'll see some footage here. I thought they were really cool. And walked around the gardens and the park that surround the Warsaw Zoo. The Warsaw Zoo is one of the oldest in the world that still exists, but the nature around the park was really, really pretty. So after we left the park, we decided to walk around a bit and try and find a traditional restaurant. Like I said in previous videos, guys, I always do this, not just based on the new country, but based on the new city that we're in. There's always different regional dishes. And for me, I was really excited because I grew up eating savory pierogies and fried onions, and I really wanted to try some traditional Polish pierogies and onions. And we found just that, and Chris had this really interesting traditional soup in this like bread pumpkin. It was really cute. After lunch, we ended up going to this really cool mall. I may ruin the name here, but it's called Zlote Tarasy. And we just like going to different shops and seeing what's the same and what's different in different countries. And the architecture for this mall was just really, really cool. So we had to check that out. And as we were walking around afterwards, we realized that there was a lot of people wearing pride flags, and we didn't realize at the time that we literally showed up for Pride in Warsaw. So one of the reasons that we thought this was pretty cool happenstance for us to come upon Pride like this in Poland of all places was that Poland has a complicated history with the LGBTQ community. And although the status of LGBTQ people were decriminalized in 1932, and transgender people are allowed to legally change their gender in the country. Lesbian, gays, and bisexuals are allowed to serve in the military, and apparently, your sexual orientation is protected in employment in the country. Same-sex marriage is not allowed still to this day. There's limited cohabitation rights, and same-sex couples are not allowed to adopt in Poland. Because Poland has such a conservative standpoint politically, that has really made an impact on LGBT rights. And because there's such a tie to the Catholic Church, a lot of people are told that the way that they live their lives and the people that they are wrong. So we thought it was really cool to be a part of Pride in a place where these people are still really fighting for their rights.
They came from Poznan.
So here we have Castle Square. It's a historic square in front of the royal castle, the former official residence of the Polish monarchs. And obviously it's a popular tourist spot, but it's just really cool to see Old Town Warsaw. And it's just a beautiful place. While we were there, there was Hare Krishna, people chanting, and then later on there was some beautiful live music. And the square was just very lively and a really beautiful place to walk around.
Українці проти Русі об'єднали вже цілий світ, і скоро зовсім Русині не буде, і буде мир. І такі пісні співали, я стерігаю скоро стрій, ти на бої подала. Я стерігаю скоро стрій, ти на бої.
Warsaw is a beautiful place. It was very kid-friendly, very walkable, just amazing things to see everywhere. And if you're someone who's really into history, there's castles everywhere, there's statues everywhere, there's plaques about the incredible history of this city and Poland as a country everywhere. Overall, we really loved Warsaw and highly recommend it if Poland is on your travel list. Speaking of things to check out if you're into history, one of the things we had to see was the Warsaw Uprising Monument. It was created in 1944, and it is located in the Krasinski Square in Warsaw. The monument has been described as the most important monument of post-war Warsaw. and it is also one of the most visited landmarks for foreign tourists. The Warsaw Uprising, which broke out on the 1st of August 1944, lasted until the 2nd of October 1944 and was one of the most important and devastating events of the history of Warsaw and Poland. Up to 90% of Warsaw's buildings were destroyed during the hostilities and the systematic destruction of the city carried out by the Germans after the uprising. So after taking a moment of remembrance at the memorial, we decided to go to another one of Warsaw's most beautiful parks and walk around a bit before we headed on to another train. We're getting closer to the end of our Interrail trip here, so thanks to everyone who's been following along, and there's lots more adventures to come.